And one of the things we know from our research on hoarding is once there's no one else coming into the home, once the person's living there all by themselves with no visitors, the clutter gets worse. So one of the things we do with family members is to suggest to them that it's a good idea just to visit and to get inside the home. And when you do, don't say anything about the hoarding. Don't say anything about wanting them to live differently. Just be there. Because in the being there, they've set up an expectation the person has that someone's coming over. And whenever that exists, there is a tendency for the person to start cleaning up, to try to do something to make the home functional enough for someone to come in and sit beside you and have a conversation. So it's one of the things that a family member can do. It's a simple thing. It's really hard for a family member to go in after spending decades trying to get the person to throw things away. It's really hard for them to go in and do this, but it's critically important for them to maintain that relationship. What happens in this situation with the growing conflict is a person with a hoarding disorder, for the most part, they know something's wrong. They know they're not living like other people are living, but yet they feel such shame in admitting it. And so what happens is someone comes into their home and starts telling them what they should throw away or how they should throw something away. And automatically, even though they're ambivalent about it, yeah, I want to clean up my house, but I don't want to lose all my stuff. They side on the other side. If someone says you should be doing this, their tendency is to argue the opposite. So what we see in this family dynamic is a family member who will argue for why you should throw all this stuff away. And on the loved one side, they have to argue the other side, why all this stuff is important to me. So one of the first steps in breaking that kind of communication pattern is for the family member to try to understand, why is it that this is so important to you? To sort of get inside the head of their loved one about what this means to them. And when you do, and we have to do this as therapists, when you do that, you really see why. You really see the nature of the thinking, the nature of the attachment to the possession. And for all of us, and it's really the same for all of us, our possessions are magical. They have magical qualities. We keep things to remind us of other people, places, events, and so forth. And so that idea, that essence of the object is something that goes beyond the physical characteristics of that object. So for any of us going into a home with someone that has saved a lot of stuff, we look at something and it looks to us like it's trash. But really it has an essence, and that essence is the meaning it has for that individual. And until we discover that meaning, that item's not going to go away. The person needs to process that idea. They need to pick up that object. They need to talk about that object. They need to describe why it's important to them without this layer of criticism where they're being pushed to throw it away. One of the things we know about hoarding is that when people fill their home, they never, or almost never, interact with those things that are in their home afterwards. They just sit there. And what we want to do, what we want to get these folks to do, is to start processing what each of these things means to them, because that's how they learn what's important to them and what's not.